Okay, so since I put up my new siding on one part of my house here, uh, I've had quite a lot of interest from people that I know and people in this area about what sort of paint I used because they really like the finish. So today I'm going to show them and you what kind of paint I use and how easy it is to make. It's called black pine tar paint and I make it myself. You can buy it. There's a fabulous company called Orson who make their own version of this for not really much difference in price. This is not exactly a cheap paint to make, but it's kind of satisfying to make your own stuff and use it. So that's why I do it. But is it more cost effective? Not really. So um, one of the basic ingredients is pine tar, and this is the brand that I have at the moment. Um, that's wet because I have it in a pot of hot water to keep it soft, because if it gets cold it gets super 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 thick and you could open it up and turn it upside down and it won't pour out. It's just super thick. So I'm trying to soften it up for the video and to make the paint base that I make. This brand is very, very good. It's a real pine tar. It's not thinned with anything. I have another brand that I bought, and I'll show you. Is this one. And that is thinned out already with turpentine. I didn't realize that when I bought it. It was also quite a bit more expensive, but it's thinned already with turpentine, and you don't want that. You don't need the turpentine for a start, even though it's a fairly natural product, but you don't need it. So we're not going to use that one. I'll give that to a friend who has some horses or something. This brand is very, very good. There's a brand, Orson. They also just make pine tar. You could buy their brand. It's available at earthandflax.com. They sell it also. There's a company in New Bedford, Massachusetts, not that far from here, but they are called, I think it's George Kirby Paint Company, and they sell a gallon of this for, and I don't think it's thinned out, I'm sure, and it's $67 or $68 for a gallon size. This is a quart, and I paid $15 on eBay. So it was a little cheaper, and that was shipped too. That was including shipping, so it was cheap. That's why I bought it, and I happened to know that it worked really well. So you'll need your pine tar, and you will also need an empty paint can like this. I've used this one before. I made a primer out of this once, and I used that, so I'm going to use that. I got this at my local hardware store where I always shop. I do not, unless I absolutely have to, go to the big box stores, because they're full of a bunch of idiots who work there who don't want to help you, and your local store is a much nicer place to go. Plus you're supporting your local community. Okay, end of preach. And then you'll need some purified raw linseed oil in order to thin out the paint once you've made it. It's very important that you get purified raw linseed oil. Do not even bother buying Sunnyside brand, either boiled or raw or whatever they sell. Do not buy it. It's full of sludge, and you don't want that in your paint because the sludge attracts contaminants that will make mildew and who knows what else in your paint. So you don't want the cheap stuff. Well, it's actually really not even that cheap. You want the good stuff, the purified raw linseed oil. I buy this from a company in Western New York called Earth and Flax, run by a nice girl called Natalie, and she produces this stuff, and it's superior to anything you can buy that isn't purified. So please just don't buy the other stuff. Boiled linseed oil already has all sorts of metals in it and volatile organic compounds, and you just don't need it. Buy this stuff. It's very, very good. It's the best stuff I've ever used. It's $44 a gallon. I can't remember how much shipping is, but earthandflax.com, she sells it, and yeah, $44.50 a gallon. And the Sunnyside stuff is $35 a gallon, so there's not very much difference in price, and you're getting such a superior product when you buy this. So trust me on that one. So you'll need that to thin out your paint. You'll also need some pigment, and this is what I use from Alpha Chemical, synthetic black iron oxide, and they also sell a regular black iron oxide, which is not anywhere near as good as the synthetic. It's very, very granular, and it's fun for kids to use to make slurries with magnets and things like that. It's not a good pigment. This stuff is great. So you're going to need that. And this company are great. I buy it on eBay. They ship it right to me. Great stuff. Very, very strong pigment. You'll need that. And of course you'll need a brush. I had a very, very nice brush that I bought from Earth and Flax along with my oil, but I seem to have lost it, and I'm kind of bummed out about it. It's some Swedish brush that was a very, very good quality brush, and I can't seem to find it, so I'm going to use a chip brush, which I've used before. They're about the best thing you can use with it, because it is quite thick paint, and it needs a stiff brush to work it in, as opposed to, like, you know, a nice soft purdy used for trim or something. You don't want to use that. So just buy one of these cheap ones. They do tend to lose their fibers, their bristles, but I have found that the bristles just kind of flake off of the paint anyway, so when it's dry. Anyway, so there's that. And then I use like any kind of recyclable little pot from the kitchen to put a little bit of olive oil, a little bit of linseed oil in this, and then I'll put my brush in it to store it while I'm using the paint. And that is the end of that bit. Okay, so into your empty paint pot, which mine is probably, I haven't actually opened it yet, you'll want to measure 6 ounces of black pigment. So I'm going to put that on my scale, my empty pot. I'm going to, there we go, that's ounces. I'm going to zero it out, okay, and add 6 ounces of that. And you can experiment too with different amounts of pigment. I have found that 6 ounces works pretty well for me. You could probably go a little less, and you could probably add a little bit more. Why you'd want to, though, I don't know. It's very dark as it is, so let's put 6 ounces in there. That's 4, 4.5, 5, come on, there we go, 5.5. Oops. Okay, I put 6.15 ounces in there, but anyway, I'm not going to take it out. Silly too. So around 6 ounces. There we go. And the next thing you're going to do is add your pine tar. So it's 1/4 of pine tar to 6 ounces of pigment. That's what. That's what I've found works for me. I hope this is soft enough. Well, you'll need a stirrer. Oh, let's get that scale out of there. is so runny now. It's more of the consistency of treacle than before. It was like, I don't even know what. But anyway, we'll put that. Oh, you see that? There was a big blob came out. That's because it wasn't softened all the way through, but that'll be okay. I can always heat up this pot in my pan. See? Pretty much empty. I'm going to let it drain though for a while. There, I'm going to let it drain for a while. Okay, so now it's nice and runny and viscous. And I've been able to mix the 6 ounces of pigment with the quart of pine tar nicely, very easily. Here, there, get a better idea of how it looks. God, it's so hard to photograph in here, but look, you can see it's quite runny. There we go. And that is it. That is your basic black pine tar paint concentrate. That's your concentrate. God, it's so hard to show how much there actually is in there. Well, you know, it's a quart with a little bit of pigment, so it's just over a quart in there. And you'd mix that 50-50 with the purified raw linseed oil in order to get your actual paint. You can also, for your first coat, you can make a thinner version, say 70-30, 60-40, something like that, to make a primer coat if you wanted. I tried that once and it just seemed like a waste of time, so I just do 2 coats of the paint concentrate that is 50-50 with linseed oil. So I would put in that paint pot right there, I will measure out a quart of this and put it in this pot here and mix it all together, and that's what I'll use for my paint, which I'm going to show you right now if I can. If you can even see it. Okay. This is T111 siding with pine tar paint on it. 1 coat only on that, just so you know. It has a really nice appearance. Flat black or matte. And I did the back too. This is a piece I cut out for my window, so, but I painted the back first and let that dry, and then I painted all the rest of it when it was up, but I made sure I got my edges, and anything I cut I also treated with the paint. But you can see it gives a lovely finish, and this is only 1 coat. I know, can't stress that enough. Just 1 coat. So you can see the amount of protection it gives it. A lot. And it's raining outside right now, so sort of raining. Maybe I can show you how the water beads up off this finish. Okay, so here I am outside. It's actually not raining at the moment, of course, but I've got a spray bottle. I just wanted to show you how it beads up and runs off. And this is outside, of course, on the siding that's finished. And that's only 1 coat. And if I pan out, if I move back, maybe I can, no, that's probably not. You can see how black it is. And that's just 6 ounces of pigment and 1 coat. And I suppose one of these days, if the weather finally clears up, I'll get around to doing another coat. But it's really lovely stuff. It's got a lovely finish. I highly recommend it.